what's up? This is JM, host of the Celebrity Grill podcast on iTunes, and you're listening to the Barbecue Central Radio Network. All barbecue and grilling, all the time.
Start the game! Let's go!
We'll do it live. Okay. Well, do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and... Oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
All right, good evening, and welcome to the Really Big Barbecue Central Show. It's the show that talks about all things important to the world of barbecue and grilling, originating from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio. It is the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I'm your program host, Greg Ripping. Happy to have you aboard here on your Tuesday evening. If you want to jump in on the show tonight, more than happy to have you. 216-220-0966. 216-220-0966. You can also email the show if you care to do that.
You can get in touch with the show by sending an email to Greg at bbqcentralshow.com. Or on the Twitter and Instagrams at BBQ Central Show.
Everything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening in case you didn't get the newsletter coming up in about 12 minutes from now. It is the second Tuesday of the month. And traditionally, that brings a visit from the man who has created the most heavily trafficked barbecue and grilling website. He would also argue that he is the most popular barbecue and grilling website, just like I would argue that I'm the most popular barbecue and grilling related live show that is also a podcast. And there is a difference. Meathead will be joining us from AmazingRibs.com. We missed him last month. He comes back this month to talk about a myriad of barbecue and grilling topics. One topic that we may or may not get to has nothing to do with live fire cooking and grilling, and that is our good friend Google. What do people tell you to do when you don't know something? Where do you go to find out something that you need more information on? Where do you go if you can't remember the Barbecue Central Show's website, but you can remember BBQ Central Show? You go to Google. Well, Google continues to change up ways they search and rank and list. And, of course, being listed at the very top is many websites' goal, and not the least of which is AmazingRibs.com. So Meathead will let us in a little bit on the back door, or pull back the curtain, if you will, on why Google rank is important to him and perhaps what we might be able to do to help Meathead out. This is something... Oh, hold on a minute. Hold on. Something Oh, all right. Well, just like that, nobody on the phone. There was a phone call. There is not a phone call. Anyway, Meathead in the first hour, assuming his regular role. Then we will move to the second hour, and we will be joined by a first-year sponsor of this show, somebody who has an award-winning tech product, and it relates to the barbecue and grilling industry. If you are a fan of remote thermometers, and more importantly than that, one that can give you many different readouts through a variety of different ways, cloud-based, Bluetooth-based, all that fun stuff, yeah, you can do that. With my guest in the second hour, Ted Conrad from Fireboard, and then rounding out the show at 10:35. First timer to the show, Jason Cole, who's the event organizer of the KCBS World Championship the KCBS World Championship barbecue organizer. We've been talking about that on the show recently, and Jason Cole will be on to talk about that and why KCBS has decided to go from just a sanctioning body to now one that puts on events as well as sanctions them. So looking forward to Jason Cole coming up to close out the show. So Jason Cole at the tail end, Ted Conrad top of the second hour, Meathead in your first hour, and I am taking your phone calls and emails as you see fit. Are you following me socially? Please do that, of course, on the Instagram at BBQ Central Show, on Twitter at BBQ Central Show, Facebook as well, where you can get this beautiful live video feed if you're so inclined, / BBQ Central Show. Like the page and be brought up to date with everything that's happening on this show. If you are not a subscriber to the show newsletter, you get a somewhat similar reminder on Facebook as well. So I'm happy to have you. All right, 785, you're on the line. Go ahead. Hello. Hello and goodbye.
Get that free stuff out of here.
All right. That's why I don't take phone calls in this show a lot. All right, so first and foremost, I do want to acknowledge what today is. And for the vast majority of us, 17 years ago, this very day changed our lives forever, some more severely than others, to be sure. But life as we knew it changed forever that day, September 11th, 2001. We still feel the effects of it all around us, getting right down to the minutia of traveling and so forth. So I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time on this now because I'll be starting off all the interviews this evening with my guests in kind of a remembrance or where were you that day, because I refuse to let September 11th go by without some type of an acknowledgement. Actually, if you're a fan of the show, you know I refuse to let September 11th, 2001 go by at all without mentioning it at the close of each and every show. September 11th, 2001, I will never forget. So if you want to jump in on the instant message and tell me where you were or how this date sits with you 17 years later, I'm more than happy to get it and share it on the air. If you want to give me a shout, 216-220-0966. I'll try to mix the calls in where I can, but feel free to reach out. Instagram, instant message, through the instant chat, email, however you want to do it. And I will get them in as we also get feedback from the guests as well during the show. All right, quick to the folks over at Bubba Burgers, hooking me up with no less than 2 shirts, 2 hats, 2 aprons. So while I have an overwhelming, guttural decision to make, or that primal, I want to keep everything, but let's be fair, some of you are also Bubba Burger fans as I am. Now, maybe some of you aren't as willing to put yourself out in the public as I have been, like I did with Pat LaFrida, and saying, hey, I like Bubba Burgers, to a guy who is, you know, the meat master, and he is well known for his different burger recipe blends. But I said to him right there when he was on the show, I like Bubba Burgers. He didn't seem to know too much about Bubba Burgers, but somehow, some way, the folks at Bubba Burgers must have found out that I am some kind of fan of theirs. And within the mail contained the 2 hats, 2 aprons, and 2 shirts. So at some point, probably on social media, in order to boost the following, that's why I'm asking you if you're following me socially on Instagram at BBQ Central Show. Give it a follow, so worth it, and we'll talk about more on that in the second hour. I will do some type of contest to give away one of those shirts, one of those hats, and one of those aprons in a package. So you can also rep your love of Bubba Burgers. By the way, in case you're wondering, is this a shill? Negative. Not a shill. Not a sponsor of the show. Just a fan of the product. In fact, we might have turned a show contrarian to the Bubba Burger, John Solberg, former producer of the show, and I say former solely because the technology is kind of sucked. So we've had to go back to me running everything, which pretty easy to get used to John doing a lot of the logistics that you don't see, but he was a little contrarian or a little presumptive if these Bubba Burgers were actually going to be good or not. And I said, hey, got to try them first. Try them first and then tell me. Because as we all know, my flavor profile and what my palate enjoys might be considerably different than what you like. We've known that through the decades and ages, right? Absolutely. So thanks to the folks at Bubba Burgers for the hookup. And be on the lookout on social media for your chance to win a hat, a shirt, and an apron. Again, not shilling, not selling out, not paid.
Get that big stuff out of here.
You know I like my money. Hey, behind every great meal is a great grill, and not just a great grill, a Traeger grill, and the Timberline, Traeger's most advanced grill yet. It allows you to grill, smoke, bake, roast, braise, and barbecue like a pro, no matter what your level. Thanks to the incredible wood-fired taste. Seriously. You don't know flavor till you're cooking with it. Traeger grills use all-natural wood pellets as fuel, so you're literally cooking with flavor. From low and slow smoked ribs to a seared steak, even a baked apple pie, Traegers can handle it all. And the Traeger Timberline makes it even easier thanks to the Wi-Fi capability. You can check your cooks, kick up the temperature, set custom cook cycles anywhere, all right through the Traeger Grill phone app. If I had a brisket on my cooker right now, I could go check it right now and make adjustments in-app. Find one at your local Traeger dealer or check them out online, TraegerGrills.com. If you want to beef up that barbecue game of yours, take a Traeger shop class. They're going on coast to coast right now, bringing barbecue knowledge and amazing wood-fired food everywhere they go. Come on. Taught by professional pitmasters like the guy I just hooked up with this past Saturday, Chad Ward. Chadley Von Ward made a stop through the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city. Hooked up with him at the Jolly Scholar downtown, Case Western Reserve University. We did that. You can take home the skills you need to be a barbecue master, a king of your cul-de-sac. Just take a shop class. You can find the nearest shop class to you by visiting TraegerGrills.com/shop class. Again, that's TraegerGrills.com/shop class. Be sure to follow them on social media at Traeger Grills, even though somehow I've been banned by Traeger. Can we fix that, please, Traeger? Can we get me unbanned on the Instagram? Is that possible? But you can follow them on Instagram, even though I can't, and take advantage of social media prizes and giveaways and all that other stuff. Tag them at Traeger Grills. You never know what's going to happen. They love the grassroots stuff. So do I. Again, TraegerGrills.com or TraegerGrills.com/shop class. And we are back with Meathead. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting live from the BBQ Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the show is being brought to you by Butcher Barbecue, makers of award-winning injections and marinades and rubs and seasonings and barbecue sauces and grilling oils. All Butcher Barbecue products tested on the competition circuit as well as in the backyard worldwide. Be the pit master of your neighborhood. Visit butcherbbq.com right now to stock up. Always trust your butcher. Folks, the second Tuesday of the month, for each and every month of the last 37 years of me doing the show has found a visit coming from the creator of the AmazingRibs.com website, Meathead, joining us. Meathead, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. How are you? How's all the Centralites today?
Everybody is fabulous. Meathead, we are ready to go, baby.
It's football season, thank goodness.
Football season.
Hey, Cleveland didn't lose this weekend.
I guess. I don't know. It's like if it's technically not a loss, but I can tell you what it's definitely not. It's not a win.
Oh Jesus! Don't talk to me. My Bears once again had their hearts ripped out of them by Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if anybody followed it, but leading 20-0 in the third quarter, they managed to lose 24-23. Oh my goodness!
Hard to get sympathy from a guy who has won 1-31 the past 2 seasons.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
True. Hey, I want to set the record straight.
Go ahead.
Your email sent out and your notice on the website on Facebook here says
yes
that I had more pressing issues. Nothing is more pressing than talking to you.
Incorrect, Meathead. Incorrect. That was way more pressing.
No, my brother-in-law, who also is my best friend. How many people can say that? Had quadruple bypass surgery, so
Yikes.
that was a little more pressing, I guess. But I just don't like the intonation that it was more important than you. This was, something I had to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, certainly. That was not the tone I meant. I meant, of course, if you're going to be missing, there's something that is way more important than that should be handled. So
nothing's more important than being with you.
Right. Well, you are back.
I'm pretty serious about that. I love talking to you, Greg.
You're back and better than ever. Meathead from AmazingRibs.com joining us here. Meathead, before we get into some of the topics, I wanted to start with each guest this evening and do a little remembrance of 17 years ago this very day. It's not often that this show actually falls on September 11th, although it has during the course of its genesis. But as you look back 17 years ago, where were you and what were those initial emotions that wash over you as something that has never happened like this on this soil is taking place?
Yeah, I mean, pretty powerful stuff. I mean, it's one of those things that you never forget. There are a handful of them. I remember where I was when Kennedy was shot. I'm that old. And I was right here. I sit when I talk to you, but I have a standing desk, and this is my desk. I work here, and I've been working here for many years. And I was here, and there was, I think, a news snippet on the radio. And so behind that door there is my dining room, and there's a TV in there, and I went in and I switched it on. And I switched it on just a few minutes before the second plane hit the second tower. And, just like everyone else, it was like it hit me in the gut, I mean, it hit the tower, but it also hit me. And I'm sure most of your guests are going to echo these same experiences. Not many of us saw the first plane, but so many of us saw the second plane.
Yeah.
And I just, my knees got weak. I had to sit down at the dining table and watch. And, it runs through your mind. Are these the Russians? Are these, it was clear to me we were under attack. I mean, people don't just, for jollies, grab an airliner. And, of course, all the news came streaming in about canceled flights. I was scheduled to fly the next day on the 12th from home here in Chicago to Ithaca, New York, where I was going to lecture at Cornell University. And then from Ithaca, I was going down to Florida Atlantic University, where I was going to lecture. And, for people who may not remember, who are less than, 20 years old or so, all air traffic was canceled. And, it soon became apparent that only one airplane was left up there, or most airplanes have been pulled out. And that was, the one over Shanksville. And it was just a series of dramas. I don't remember all the details. But, for weeks afterwards, the nation was paralyzed. Many of your listeners, I suspect, lived through it and remember it, although it was 17 years ago.
Yep.
So I fear that many of your listeners think of it as history from the history book. And there was just nothing like it in American history, with the possible exception of Pearl Harbor, which also killed somewhere in the same neighborhood of 3,000 Americans. In Pearl Harbor, most of the deaths were military. There were 2,977 died on or soon after September 11th, not counting the hijackers, or the rescue workers, many of whom died later and are still struggling.
Correct.
But, there are other things that still haunt me. Soon after that, we invaded Afghanistan. We thought to find the people who started this and kill them, but we ended up fighting the same people the Russians fought and lost, the Taliban. And to date, I looked this up, 2,400 American military people died, and 20,000 were wounded in Afghanistan.
Wow.
17 years later, the war is still going on.
Yep.
I don't know what we're doing there and what we're accomplishing there. And then in March, just a couple of years later, we attacked Iraq, and I never understood what we were doing that for. And 4,500 died there, more than in Afghanistan, and 32,000 wounded. So we're talking about 7,000 dead and 50,000 wounded in 17 years, when 3,000 died on September 11th. So our response to it was disproportionately damaging to both us, and who knows how many Afghanis and Iraqis died, many of whom probably deserved to, but many of whom probably didn't. And then we're talking about the tens of thousands of American and Iraqi families who have been traumatized by the death. And you lose a loved one in a war and you never recover.
Sure.
Or they come home wounded, or they come home sound, but their brain is never. I mean, killing people is not easy, and it affects everyone's brains. So the whole thing had this domino effect that has affected hundreds of thousands of people. And, I'm not sure, in 2020 hindsight, I wonder how well we responded to it. And then you try to put it in perspective. I mean, we freak out over 3,000 horrific deaths 17 years ago, but every year, 30,000 plus die in car accidents. Why haven't we declared war on Detroit? Why haven't we fixed the automobile problems? 23,000 gun suicides in 2016, and 14,000 homicides. Hurricane Maria, 3,000 alone, more than on September 11th died. And we have government officials saying that we handled Maria perfectly. So I don't know. I mean, 3,000 is a lot of people, and we shouldn't diminish it. We also have to keep in a perspective, I think, all the other byproducts of that war and other tragedies that go on in this country that we don't respond to with the same urgency. I don't know. I talk a lot about barbecue, and I try very hard not to talk about politics. I don't want to upset or offend anyone, and people who love barbecue get offended when you start getting off topic. But it's a powerful and passionate issue.
Let's go ahead and get back on topic then, Meathead, because I agree with you.
You asked.
I did. But it's my fervent belief that no one should ever forget what happened. And my daughter, who is 17 years old, was months old. Literally 3-4 months old when it had 5 months maybe. So she technically, was alive for it, but doesn't remember really anything about it. So she's watching it through internet articles and stuff on television that I saw firsthand, and tried to figure out if we were if this was just a domino effect of other cities are going to get stuff flown into them, or now there's bombs, or something's going to be in the water. I mean, that was thought of as well. So, and I was 17 years younger and a lot more naive and all that stuff. So, but, the effort here is to make sure that for at least while I'm here, that we're not going to forget about it, or that it just becomes some relic of history that people don't really have an attachment to. And maybe that's how it is for people that, like you said, you remember when Kennedy was shot, so that's probably something you hold a little bit more closely than I would, since I wasn't around for it, or that I didn't live through it. And when you live through something like this, you hold it a little bit more near and dear to your heart, and you hope that people don't forget. But time wears on, no doubt about it. So we are now in the midst of college football season, Meathead. Of course, that is a huge tailgating season. And, of course, professional football has no slouches when it comes to tailgating either. I live in a city that is a huge tailgate city. You do as well, a number of the other NFL cities. What do you like about tailgating, and what is tailgating to Meathead?
It's just great fun. I'm going to my wife's undergraduate alma mater, Northern Illinois University in DeKalb, Illinois, about an hour and a half west of Chicago, in the middle of a cornfield. Nice little university, and occasionally they muster a decent team. They made it to the Orange Bowl a couple of years ago, and we're heading out there Saturday for a tailgater. It's just friendship, it's fellowship, it's party atmosphere, it's celebration, it's our tribe versus your tribe. We hate Miami University, Miami of Ohio, that is.
Hey, good news. I hate Miami of Ohio as well, being a former Bobcat.
Yeah. And I use a MAC university. It's not one of the big Power 5 conferences, but they play a pretty good brand of ball, and usually they only attract 15, 20,000, so you get a good seat, and you get to watch a pretty good, decent ball game, and a few of those guys make it to the pros, and it's just fun. It's just fun. And then, of course, the food. There's a connection between football and tailgating, and that is the gridiron. Football is called a gridiron, laid just like what used to be the name for the grate upon which we cook food. It was originally called a gridiron. It was an iron grid that we cooked food. That was the origin of the name. Football gridiron came later. And, of course, football is played with pigskin.
Right.
Well, I guess it's not really pigskin anymore. But I think the connection between football and food is as natural as any. And I look forward to going out there. And, sometimes it's just hot dogs. Or hot dogs and hamburgers. I've done steaks. I got this really cool little pizza cooker I've been cooking with, and I suggested to my wife we take it out there, and she said she nixed the idea. But, it's always, planning the event. And there are a couple of tips I'd like to share for you guys if you're planning on tailgating. And number one, you want to check the rules. You got to go to the website. Some tailgating venues do not permit charcoal. Some of them don't permit cooking at all, so you got to check that. Most of them permit cooking, but a lot of them don't permit charcoal, so you want to check that. And you want to check the opening time. I like to get there early, and I take a bunch of eggs and crack them open, throw them in a bowl, mix in some onion and some cheese, and I pour them in a plastic milk jug. And now I've got scrambled eggs, and I just get out to the game, and we pour them onto a griddle on top of a small gas. I like to bring a gas grill. I don't bring charcoal to tailgaters. It takes time to start up. And what do you do with it when you head for the game? It's still smoldering. You don't want to push it under the car, right under the gas tank.
No way.
So a gas grill, I take a small portable gas grill. And by the way, if you're shopping for a tailgate grill, as you know, and hopefully your listeners know, Max Good, who works for us full-time, tests grills and smokers for a living. What a great job he has. He has his top 8 tailgate grills on our website. They're called Pitmaster Awards, and they range in price from cheapo to elaborate. So check out his ratings. He's got more than 50 or so tested and rated, but he picked his top 8. So pick up a good tailgate grill. Like I say, I lean towards gas, and I've been known to cook up some really good steaks. But you don't want to get too elaborate. You're not going to do ribs or brisket. It just you don't. Convenience more important. You don't have to show off. And there's 3 approaches. You can do all your cooking at the game. And if you're going to do that, things that cook fast like burgers and dogs and steaks and chicken and stuff are the answer there.
Yep.
Fajitas, and so on, wings. Or you can bring cooked foods that you've chilled. So you could cook something the day before and then chill it down, throw it in a cooler, bring it, and then warm it. But you're serving leftovers that way. Not my favorite approach, but it works. I mean, leftover wings can be reheated and they can be delicious. Or you can bring hot food. If it's a late day game, like a 3 o'clock kickoff or something, you can get up early and cook up a bunch of food and throw it in a beer cooler. Beer coolers not only keep things cold, but they also keep things hot.
Right.
Call it a focambro. You could do a pork butt, start it in the wee hours and bring a pork butt and rip it apart and shred it there and do pulled pork. So there are 3 approaches to doing that. And don't forget to do things like, bring paper towels, bring water for cleanup and washing, bring a liquor box for a garbage box and garbage bags. Don't forget the tickets. Chairs. If you're bringing charcoal, bring a chimney, cutting board, beer, plenty of drinks. I like to do Bloody Marys, and I rim the glass with a barbecue rub. I do my Memphis dust on the rim of the glass.
Are you into micheladas?
I'm not into it, but I've done it and I like it. Tell your audience what a michelada is.
It's I think a beer with Bloody Mary mix and then like a rub on the top or something along
like
those
that,
lines.
Yeah.
Bloody Mary beer.
Once upon a time, you and I were out in Las Vegas for an event that where several of us teamed up and we made a Bloody Mary with a barbecue rub around the rim, and we used a pork rib as a swizzle stick, and we won the little competition there.
Yeah, you remember what the name of that drink was?
Yeah, I don't remember. I think Robin made up the name, and it was filthy.
It was called Rim Job.
That's it. Robin made it.
Oh my God! All right, good night, everybody. Meathead, I'm getting question upon question in the instant chat. What the hell is on the desk there? Is that a rib bone or what? Off to your right there on the top?
Oh yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I brought it in to remind myself to talk about this.
Jerky.
No. This is my wife planted a variety of sweet red pepper called Carmine, and it's an Italian variety. It's a slender, long, but it ripens red, and we dehydrate it. I throw it on the smoker. This has been smoked. I split it in half and dehydrate it and put it on the smoker. And when it gets good and dry, I throw it in the mix master or the coffee grinder, and I make the most wonderful smoked paprika.
Oh, really?
It's so easy to do, and it's just, or you can just chop it up and put it in a jar, and use it in your cooking. Red pepper flakes, without being hot red pepper flakes. We also do it without smoking it, just dry it out and make great paprika. This particular breed, Carmine, makes really great paprika, but it works with a lot of red peppers, or it works with jalapenos, serranos. You can make hot. Just pick your peppers, split them open, gut them. I like to take the the seeds out, and most of the heat is in the ribs. It's actually, they're called the placenta. You can take the ribs out, and that's where the heat is. Depends on how much heat you like. I get rid of the seeds because they stick in my teeth, and they don't have that much heat. And then you can dry them out. You can dry them on a smoker. You can dry them in your oven. Keep the temperature down around 200, 212. You just want to slowly dry them out, get them dry and crisp, and then you can grind them into a powder or chop them into chunks. The other thing that I love to do at this time of year is cherry tomatoes. Cherry tomatoes, if you pick a bunch of, and if you plant 2 cherry tomato plants, you get enough cherry tomatoes to fill a bathtub.
Oh, yeah.
And you're always overstocked in cherry tomatoes. I pick them and I stab them with a sharp knife or a pointed fork so that there's some holes in them. Throw them on the smoker, keep the temperature low, under 225, and dehydrate them until they're tender like raisins. And they're incredible.
Really?
They're like raisins. They're really sweet. They're really rich. They have this smoky flavor. They're fabulous on a focaccia. Throw them on a salad, on a pizza. There are just a million things you can do with them. Whatever you could do with a raisin, you can do with a smoked cherry tomato raisin, and they're just unbelievable. They're great fun. And I asked my wife, she had a big bowl of the cherry tomatoes, if I should start smoking them, and she told me, no, we still have some left over from last year.
Oh.
And we use them. So they're just great and great fun. So this time of year is a good time for smoking peppers and cherry tomatoes.
Meathead from AmazingRibs.com joining us here on the show, and we will be right back with him as we lead to the first break. We're going to be talking about griddling next. That's very exciting. You know what else is exciting? Big Papa Smokers. That's right. Head on over to the one-stop shop for all things barbecue related. Their curated selection of only the best outdoor cooking and grilling supplies. Get you on the path to better barbecue results in no time. Everything at BigPapaSmokers.com has been Pitmaster approved by Sterling Big Papa Ball himself, from the award-winning rubs to the American-made grills and smokers. Something for everybody at that website. They're also known for their popular rub flavors like Sweet Money, Cattle Prod, Cash Cow, all proven winners on the competition circuit and in the backyard. They offer 13 perfectly balanced flavors that transform ordinary meals into extraordinary. Also have that partnership with Simply Marvelous Barbecue, which is known as the West Coast Offense. And they own the award-winning Granny's Barbecue Sauce. If you're looking for a new go-to sauce that'll please everyone, Granny's traditional yet powerful flavor remind us why we fell in love with barbecue in the first place. Find Granny Sauce and other top-rated sauces at BigPapaSmokers.com. And aside from all of that, they have the very best pellet charcoal and wood cookers on the market today. Looking for a versatile smoker, easy to use? Yeah. Mac 2-Star General Pellet Grill. That's right, the Big Papa Smoker, the exclusive Mac dealer. They even offer special packages that nobody else can. Not a fan of pellet smokers? Fine. Take a look at the old Hickory Ace BP, the only charcoal smoker that Big Papa trusts on his competition trailer. And if you're a backyard barbecue enthusiast like me looking for a durable and versatile grill that will last forever, the M Grill from Texas is just what you need. They're built like tanks. If you're not sure what you need, you can't go wrong with whatever is offered on BigPapaSmokers.com. Something for every kind of backyard cooking budget. Here's what you do. If you have questions, you give them a shout, 877-828-0727. That's 877-828-0727. Or shop the website, BigPapaSmokers.com. That's BIGPOPPA Smokers.com. And if you're looking for some new cooking videos, I believe the website is Cooking with Big Papa. You can probably put it in Google if you want. And Sterling has released like 4, 6, maybe 8 new, somewhere in that 6 to 10 minute cooking videos. So I think it's called Cooking with Big Papa. Check it out. Really fun, simple, full of flavor. There's a Brussels sprouts one that I'm going to try over the weekend that looks absolutely dynamite, and only 3 ingredients. That's my kind of recipe. 3 ingredients. One of them's butter. Meathead out of the break. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
CookingPellets.com is bringing you the #1 wood pellet for all your pellet-driven cookers. If you go to CookingPellets.com, you can buy and peruse what they have to offer. Some other things aside from wood pellets. You can also buy from Amazon.com to purchase as well. Download their free app and be alerted to great shipping deals. That's CookingPellets.com. and Meathead joining me once again. Meathead, let's talk a little bit about griddling, one of your, I don't say it's like a new thing that you're into because we've talked about it from time to time, but what do you like about griddling?
Well, Paul Sidoriak brought it to my attention. I mean, I have always had a cast iron griddle,
Sure,
which I often toss on my grill, and there are some things that are really good on that griddle. But Paul, who works for us in marketing, recently wrote a book on griddle grilling called The Backyard Griddle Cookbook, and it's on Amazon by Paul Sidoriak, Sidoriak, and he is kind of like the leading proponent of griddling.
really.
And, I've always kind of thought, it's kind of like just cooking in a frying pan. But there are some things that you can do with a griddle on your grill that are really cool. And one of the things that's happened that Paul brought to my attention is that there are some griddle grills. They're about the size of a gas grill. I mean, they're, like 4 or 5 feet long, and they have a big metal surface, a flat top. When you go to Joe's Bar and Grill, they don't have what you and I think of as a grill. They have a flat top,
right,
a plancha, a griddle. And, Joe is cooking up burgers and stuff on that hot metal flat top surface. And Blackstone, for example, has a 36-incher that I think is under $200. Camp Chef has one, a couple of them. And so they're really interesting. They're not expensive, and they're a cool idea to take to your tailgater.
Do you know what let me ask you this question, Meathead, because I'm sure you've had the ability to play around with these, or at least talk to Max, who's had some ability to play around with these. I think, to me, I see them at a big box store, or I'll see them online with people doing some reviews. Are they even front to back and left to right on heat? That's the only concern that I would have, is that you would have a lot of hot and cool spots, which I'm not a big fan of.
Yeah, I can't answer that. Paul knows better than I. I haven't laid hands on enough of them to answer that. I would assume that's a major part of their appeal. And, since Paul put the book out, he's in our marketing department. I went to him and I said, Paul, we got to grow this section. I've been using a Lodge cast iron griddle on my gas grill a lot. I mean, for example, salmon. We stumbled into a street fair in Portland, Oregon several years ago, where this guy had a griddle, a big, flat top griddle on the street, and he was cooking salmon, fresh ocean salmon in Oregon, and he started it meat side down, not skin side down. And, so it's that little curvy side, and pressed it down flat until it was golden brown. And then he flipped it over to the skin side and put a dome over it. This is really the same kind of thing that chefs do. They start a piece of fish in a frying pan, and then they stick it in the oven. But he puts a dome on it, or if you're on a gas grill, you just close the lid. So it's pan roasting, essentially, and you can get the skin really crispy like potato chips, and you can get gorgeous golden sear. And you can throw, we have gardens, and we take, basil, oregano, and throw it on the gas grill, and it pumps out smoke, which if you put a dome over it, I just got a big metal mixing bowl that I put over there, it gets trapped under there, and you get that nice smoke flavor deposits. It cooks quickly, but you get this delicate smoke flavor, which you can't get in a frying pan in the house. So I like throwing a griddle on top of a gas grill better than I like having a standalone grill. But having a standalone grill, as Paul has demonstrated in his book, gives you some really fun things you can do. Pancakes, eggs, fish, shrimp, and so on. But I work with my cast iron. And I talked with Paul today, and I said, Paul, can we grow this section on our website? Because I want to know what's better, cast iron or stainless steel. Now, a lot of burger joints cook their burgers on stainless steel. How come? Which is better, cast iron or stainless steel? A lot of places, I've worked with a salt block. Salt blocks are really cool.
Probably not economical in a restaurant sense, though, right?
No, although there is a restaurant in Oklahoma, I think, where she has an entire cook surface made of salt blocks.
Real?
Yeah. I read about her in a magazine somewhere. Another option, of course, is we recently redid our kitchen, and I had the guy who put the countertop down give me the sink cutout. We used quartz as a countertop, and I took the sink cutout, which is the size of a sink. We got a big sink.
Yep.
And now I've got this 1.5 inch thick piece of quartz, and I've been griddling on that. Soapstone. So there's all these griddle surfaces that are interesting and that could be fun to play with. So I've asked Paul to expand on it. I'm not the expert, other than I've done some things on my cast iron griddle and some of the other things I have, and I see that there's interesting potential, especially if you put things like dried herbs, even hay on a gas grill, put out big poofs of smoke, which you can capture and flavor things like fish.
All right.
Fun thing to play with.
Let's ask this question, because I've asked the only other person I've ever heard mention hay and smoke is your friend and mine, Steven Reichland, Barbecue Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Hay or straw?
Oh.
Uh-huh. Guess what? He does the same thing. I'm going to tell you what it is, by the way.
Okay, so I know that hay and straw are often, or straw, and I don't know which, are often used for things like oysters, and I've done that. Obviously, you want clean straw. You don't want something that a horse has been rolling in.
All right, so here's what I think I'm giving the proper information, and as we all know, the Centralites will take me immediately to task if I give the wrong information.
Of course they will.
Straw is something that you are mucking a stall with, that you go down to the horse pen, you get bales of straw. This is something that you would also see like for Halloween or something along these lines. And you go ahead, bust that open, throw it down over the horse stalls so you soak up some of the mud. There's no nutritional value in that. That's straw. Hay is what you are cutting down, and what you can actually, farmers like to sell, first cut of hay is going to bring this much, and you're going to feed your livestock with it. But then once, depending on how the season is going, you're going for a second cut, and the second cut is more rich and more vitamin enhanced, so you can get more for the second cut. Heaven forbid you should get a third cut. Farmers are going through the roof. It's like better than pornography, and they get a third cut. That, I believe, is the stuff that you actually want to smoke with. It's the hay and not the straw.
I don't know. All I know is every time I smoke with dried herbs or hay or straw, somebody comes up and says, "Are you smoking dope?" it smells illegal. But if you want to create a puff of smoke, thick and heavy, white smoke, not blue smoke, for things that cook fast, like a thin steak or a piece of fish or shrimp, that's the way to do it. And it's good with a griddle. And we've got this page that Paul put together on griddling and techniques he's learned, with links to his book and some recipes and some of the gadgets. Because I'm looking at it now, and there's like a little 17-inch standalone griddle. So it stands, it's got a little propane burner. So it's an interesting thing to play with. There are, people who are into pizza know about the pizza steel. It's a piece of steel that you use instead of a pizza stone. Also, grill grates has a plancha or a platen. So there's a variety of things you can play with. The guys over at Slow and Sear have a half-moon shaped stainless steel griddle that goes with the Slow and Sear. You can get infrared gun thermometers I got one pretty handy because I've been cooking pizzas. If you're into pizzas, you need one of these guys. Blind you and your
Wow,
readers.
look at that thing.
Yeah, nice little thing here.
Looks like a Glock 19.
Just a new technique, fun way to cook, things you can experiment with, and just a new approach to cooking on the grill.
Meathead, we got about 7 minutes or so left. Can we touch on frying? I know you're a big proponent of frying outside and moving all the spatter and heat and ickiness out into the yard instead of doing it in the house.
Oh, yeah. Well, we talk about fun new ways to cook outdoors. And you know me, I'm all about cooking outdoors, and I'm always experimenting. I love fried chicken. Who loves fried chicken? Everybody out there loves fried chicken.
Everybody loves fried chicken.
Everybody's hand is up. Okay, how many of you cook fried chicken? Most everybody's hands come down.
KFC cooks it. Popeyes cooks it, but not me. Because it stinks.
Right. Why?
It's too hard. It takes too much time. It's messy. The list goes on.
Is the big,
right.
It just spatters all over the stove, all over the counter. It gets in the exhaust fan, sets off the smoke alarm. You got to deal with the drip drying and everything. Okay, get yourself a 2 or 3 or 4 quart cast iron Dutch oven.
Mm-hmm.
Take it out to your gas grill. It's better on a gas grill than a charcoal grill because you can really control the temp. Pour a couple of inches of cooking oil in there. You can use any old-fashioned cooking oil. And bring the temp up to 375. Try not to go over 400 because you start affecting the quality of the oil. Your sweet spot for cooking is around 350. Now, it varies from this, that, and the other thing, but let's just say 350 is your target. So you're going to get it up to around 375. When it hits 370, you can use your regular old thermopenny or any old thermometer to measure the temp. And you take your chicken, you get a bowl, and you put flour in it. You get another bowl, and you crack an egg or 2 in there, and you beat it gently. You start by rolling the chicken in the flour. Oh, excuse me. You start by seasoning the chicken. All the cookbooks get this wrong.
Oh.
They all tell you to add salt and pepper to the flour.
Right. Season the flour.
Dumb. You season the meat just like you do everywhere else. You season the meat. Put your salt and pepper on the meat so you've got the right amount. Why are you going to season the flour and then throw half the flour out?
Rub your meat.
You have no control over how much flour is on the meat. Season the meat. And you can season it with salt and pepper. You can use your favorite poultry rub or whatever you want. And you season the meat. Then you roll it in the flour. Then you dunk it in the eggs. And then you come back to the flour. And fairly quickly after that second dunk in flour, you don't want the flour to get really, really wet, into the hot oil. And you just close the lid. And it can take 15 to 20 minutes. It takes a while to cook chicken. You're going to take it up to 160, 165 at the most. And you get this gorgeous golden crust, as good as you'll get from any restaurant. And anybody who loves fried chicken knows it's best when hot.
Yep.
It starts deteriorating rapidly as it cools off. You go to KFC and you bring it home in a bucket. When you get home, it's all soggy and blah. So when it's golden and it's perfect, you take it out of the oil and you lay it on the indirect side of the grill. So if you got 3 burners, you got 1 burner right on the Dutch oven that brings the temp up to 375, but the other side is off. So you lay the chicken there and it just drips. Now you can put it on paper or whatever you want. If you're doing a lot, you don't want too much of it to drip on your burners. But if it's just a few pieces, who cares if it's just on your burners? When you turn them on, it all just burns off and smokes off. But you close the lid, and it continues to cook by carryover, so you can get it up to safe temp. You've got perfect color, really crispy. You can do batch after batch after batch. You don't want to crowd the Dutch oven too much. You don't want to get too much, because cold chicken in a bucket of oil is going to bring the temp down real fast. And like I said, 350 is your ideal cooking temperature. You put 5, 6, 7 pieces in that oil, and it'll dive under 300 in a hurry. So you want to keep it down around 350, 3, 4, 5 pieces at the most, and you can just bang them out. Just bang them out. If you want really crunchy crust. There's some techniques you can play with, like putting a little milk in the flour. It makes it a little crunchy. I've written about this on the site, and I've got a good recipe for a tempura type beer batter. So for things like onion rings, we planted shishito peppers in our garden this year. They're wonderful, breaded or dipped in a batter and then fried. And who cares if it spatters? Who cares if it smokes? You're outdoors. And wonderful. Now there's a tailgate food you can do.
Sure.
Bring a little gas grill, a Dutch oven, some oil, and fried chicken all day long. The stuff is fantastic and it works. Chicken, fish tacos, anything you want to fry. Clint Cantwell, as a friend of both of ours, as you know, did fried Snickers bars recipe on our website. So we got a bunch of fried stuff on the website. All of a sudden, we're branching out. We're into fried foods, but why not?
This is why you go to AmazingRibs.com, not only for the normal stuff, but to broaden the horizons, like when it comes to frying stuff. And this is why we have them on each and every month. Meathead, always appreciate the time, and we will look for you again in October, my friend.
Always good to talk to you and the Centralites. This is my highlight of the month.
There he is, Meathead Goldwyn. That's right.
All guests appear via the Traeger Grills hotline.
Highlight of the month.
Yummy.
Meathead, you have nothing better going on? Just kidding. All right, so there you have it. If you've never been, you're missing out. AmazingRibs.com. Oh, by the way, you have $24 extra or so to spare, and you would like to get some extra value-added insight, camaraderie, pitcasts, and all that stuff. Look at the Pitmasters Club forum. Join that. $24 for the year. Get access to a forum, some exclusive podcasts, which I hope, and then support through your fellow internet mates. It's great. All right. Who likes sausage? Who likes barbecue? I do. Southside Market and Barbecue. Established in 1882, Southside is the oldest barbecue joint in Texas and has been owned and operated by the same family for 3 generations. Famous for the original beef sausage, coarse ground, and a natural pork casing. And of course, the authentic Central Texas barbecue. All meats, including the prime briskets, slow and low smoked for many hours over Texas post oak wood. Shipping nationwide via the online store, SouthsideMarket.com. Shipping fresh and smoked sausages nationwide. Shipping customers can choose to order now and ship later, include a custom gift note, and mail to multiple addresses without additional charges. All shipped items are vacuum sealed to ensure freshness and ease of preparation for the customer. Shipped with dry ice to ensure complete freshness upon arrival. All meats are processed in the on-site USDA inspected facility. And the meat markets for fresh and custom smoked orders, come on, let's go. 2 restaurants for you to eat in. Elgin, Texas since 1882, as I had mentioned at the top, and Bastrop since 2014. Grocery distribution through Texas and many surrounding states. Here's the payoff, 10% off coupon for everything that you purchase online at SouthsideMarket.com. Use checkout code BBQ Central, one word, lowercase. That's BBQ Central for 10% off your entire online order at SouthsideMarket.com. Get the sausage slammer, get the cheddar jalapeno sausage, get the beef sausage. That's what it's all about, the beef sauce. Get it! BBQ Central. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Big name interviews, advice on cooking brisket and ribs, and the only host willing to share his honest opinion on all things important in the world of barbecue. It's the Barbecue Central Show.
All right, welcome back. This portion brought to you by Fireboard. Monitor up to 6 different temperatures simultaneously. Correct or connect via the Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. If you have Alexa or Google, you're in luck. Integrated with both. Fireboard.com, the website, 816-945-2232. And we thank Meathead for joining me this past segment. Again, his website, AmazingRibs.com. That's AmazingRibs.com. And again, if you have the $24 to spare, think about joining the Pitmasters Club. If you go to AmazingRibs.com, just click on the Pitmasters Club, give you the whole breakdown of what you get for the money. And quite frankly, hard to find a better value for $24 in the barbecue and grilling world right now. We are back to reload into the second hour. You are listening and watching the Barbecue Central show right here on the Barbecue Central Network. Stick around. We'll be right back.
This is Jennifer Palamas from Charlotte, North Carolina, and this is Barbecue Central.
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
Boing. We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me!
Fine, how you doing?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead and he's in the crackle. Charbono! It's all about the Charbono, dude!
Succulent fish, what?
He ate 54 wieners.
Oh, listen, Liberty, it's a shake face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
And just like that, we are into the second hour. Welcome aboard, everybody. It is the Barbecue Central show, and we talk about really cool barbecue and grilling related items. Maybe they're not cool to you, but they're cool to us, so suck it.
Get that big stuff out of here.
Maybe you're like, I've just tuned into this show for the first time ever. I can't believe this guy's gone 60 minutes about barbecue and grilling related topics. And he had a guy named Meathead on. Who? Maybe that's you. Pull up a chair. We got a better hour coming up. Well, I don't want to say better. We got just as good of an hour coming up. And if I have anything to do it, maybe a little bit better. How about that? Let's go. 216-220-0966. You can also email me by going here.
You can get in touch with the show by sending an email to Greg at bbqcentralshow.com or on the Twitter and Instagrams at BBQ Central Show.
Dan H. is watching this show on YouTube. 65-inch screen, Polly. Dan, man's game. Don't forget, you can follow me socially at BBQ Central Show on the Instagram. Thank you in advance for the follow. I believe I'm bringing you some kind of value in the feed. It's food related. It's barbecue related. Every once in a while, it's fun and frivolity. Also, the same handle on Instagram at BBQ Central Show. Of course, Facebook, if you're watching the show here this evening live, you knew how to find it. /BBQ Central Show once you type in Facebook.com. And just like the page, and you can watch this show, the live video feed, right on Facebook. If you don't like to watch me, I get it. You can also go to tunein.com. Actually, the best place to go is the main website, the bbqcentralshow.com, and then right at the very top, 3 big blocks, a YouTube Live, a Facebook Live, and then the audio stream only. That means you don't have to look at me, but you're getting the same content that you would watch only in audio format. That's how the show was intended to be. The show used to be called the Barbecue Central Radio Show. I don't have any idea why I named it the Barbecue Central Radio Show, because it was never on the radio. It was internet radio, and I don't believe that internet is radio or anything like that. That's why it's called the Barbecue Central Show now. That's why I yell at people when they say, it's the Barbecue Central Radio Show. No, it's not. It's not on any radio. It's not. It's just the Barbecue Central Show. But you can get it how it was meant to be, no video, only your mind doing mental tricks and artistry, by going to the tune-in portion. If you click on audio only stream or live audio feed, or whatever the hell I have it up there as. And if you follow me socially, you could have seen my almost partially viral video of the honey bacon meat church rub I put up yesterday. And that brings up a weird point, or a line of demarcation and or delineation. You know, it's weird where the ages of participation from your kids fall off. So when the honey bacon rub showed up, I immediately masterminded what I thought would be a incredibly contrived and funny and horrific minute or less video, because that's the time frame you have to live in on Instagram. Video that would involve some of my kids. And I pitched the idea to the 15-year-old, and she looked at me like I was an absolute freak show for even asking her to think and consider about taking part in this video. She did not. My 13-year-old, ready to go. What do I got to do? What do I got to do? Where do I want? Take a shot at my good side. She's down. So a 2-year discrepancy, at least at my house. The 15-year-old wants no part of it. The 13-year-old can't get enough of it. And the 17-year-old wasn't in the house. So I can neither confirm nor deny her participation level, or at least what the interest level would have to have taken part in my contrived video. Which, if you missed it, let's go to the website and take a look. That's me screaming. Here, I'm running. Very excited there. See?
Oh my God, Marley, look what I got. Hurry, hurry.
There it is. Now I launch the rub at her. She's very excited too. Now she's running. Now we're in the kitchen. Oh, we're fighting over one.
Wait, there's two of them.
There's two of them. Now we're rolling on the ground so happily.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Wow, how about that? I mean, can you possibly imagine the minutes upon minutes of thought that I put into that? Well over 20,000 views on the Meat Church Honey Rub impromptu video. I mean, you never know what's going to take off, right? But I had a feeling, because I saw so many reposts by Meat Church and what was getting reposted, I wanted to be part of that. I wanted to use Matt Pittman's social media experience and exposure to my gain. That's right, Matt. I used you. But it was give and take. I produced an incredibly poor, contrived video. As John Dawson is saying, yeah, it's viral, as in syphilis or gonorrhea or herp, because once you see it, you can't get away from that. So I got a bunch of new follows, and Matt got a very averagely produced, very contrived Meat Church Honey Bacon Rub video. You're welcome, Pittman. You're welcome. Let me ask you this. Do you want some straight up knowledge? Do you want me to let you in on the world's biggest little secret that you may or may not know about? If you're talking to someone, anyone, wife, husband, co-worker, friend, Centralite, podcast listener, a gonorrhea sufferer, because they just watched this video, anyone, and they utter the key phrase, it's all good. Let me tell you something. It is anything less than all good. It is anything but. Not only is it not all good, it's all bad. All of it's bad. Never for 1 second, under any circumstance, you're in a work situation, you're in a home situation, a personal situation, pumping gas, getting confections at the corner bakery, whatever the case may be, getting barbecue from Sam Jones at the Skylight Inn while he's singing country music and fighting fires. If you're there and that's happening and Sam Jones looks at you off stage while he's killing an Alan Jackson classic, is that a country singer? And he says, it's all good, head for the hills. Because it's not only not all good, it's all bad and things are going down. Run away. Immediately question everything that has happened before and certainly everything that is going to happen after the key phrase, it's all good, is uttered. It is never all good. 100% of the time. If somebody says it's all good, it's not. It's not good. It's bad. It's really bad. It's probably friendship breaking bad, or I'm going to divorce you bad, or we can't be friends anymore bad, or you're fired bad. You screwed up at work. You're trying to get over. You're trying to make amends with the boss, and the boss says, it's all good. It's like the baseball coach getting the general manager's vote of confidence mid-season, and then he gets fired the next day.
Get that big stuff out of here.
Backyard barbecue show on the Instant Messenger telling me, Remps, don't worry. It's all good, bro. No, it's not.
Get that big stuff out of here.
Jason's probably sending me some type of an email infection right to my hard drive. Stay away. Stay away. Be very afraid. Folks, I want to sit here and cause a panic. But if you hear it's all good, consider everything to be all bad and start looking for ways out. Because it is not all good. It is all bad. Really bad. Ted Conrad from Fireboard coming up out of the break, but I want to talk to you quickly about the barbecue guru who has always believed that outdoor cooking should be easy, because it can be. Especially with the Monolith Barbecue Guru Edition grill. I've been talking about it for months now. Are you on board yet? The Monolith is the world's first temperature-controlled smoker with a built-in power draft fan. That's right. This means smarter control, greater freedom with automatic temperature control. Easily choose your cooking time and temperature, and let the Monolith do the work of a sous chef or a barbecue pitmaster. With minimal effort, you now have oven-like precision at the grill, and you can serve the tastiest, juiciest meals each and every time. I've actually locked down Bob Trudnak and Barbecue Hall of Famer going into the Hall of Fame this weekend, Tuffy Stone, in upcoming weeks, to talk about their great European barbecue trip of 2018. Mo Case uninvited? No, he can't. He'll be in Australia, forget it. However, in the meantime, you can visit bbqguru.com and check out all their products. And if you have any questions, please call. Don't guess. Call and get those questions answered. 800-288-GURU. That's 800-288-GURU. And they will make sure you're outfitted with exactly what you need to get you up and running right out of the box. Special announcement, if you already have a Guru pit temperature controller and you get a Monolith Guru or a Monolith grill, you don't have to get a new controller. Just run the controller leads right down to the fan and you're off and running. How about that? Now, if you want to get the latest in tech, certainly up to you. You want to do that upgrade, go ahead and do it. bbqguru.com or 800-288-GURU. The good folks at the Barbecue Guru continuing to be breakthroughs in barbecue technology. Fireboard creator Ted Conrad coming up out of the break. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central show right here on the Barbecue Central Network. Stick around, be right back.
The only show giving you a monthly visit from a doctor of barbecue. A man actually named. You can get in touch with the show by sending an email to Greg, bloggers, reviewers, competitors, and manufacturers by the Twitter and Instagram at BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, this portion of the show is being brought to you by Smithfield. Hey, committed cooks, make sure you head on over to smokingwithsmithfield.com and report your first place prize winnings. Have you registered to compete for the American Royal Pork Loin Ancilla? Might be too late. It's taking place this weekend. $6,000 purse if you signed up. Get it done at the American Royal website today if you can still do that. And then, of course, a couple weeks from now, the Smithfield Classic, which will be in Richmond, Virginia. That is September 29th. So hook up with Jesse at Big Papa Smokers to get that done. That's Jesse, Jessie, at BigPapaSmokers.com. All right, the past 2 weeks, I'm sorry, I am in the wrong outline. There we go. My next guest, or first guest in the second hour, continuing to make the mark in the smart/connected wireless thermometer market. I was happy to partner with them earlier this year, 2018, as they come on as a show sponsor. And it's been it's been a bit since we spoke last. So here to catch us up on the products and the company, founder of Fireboard Labs, which is the company that creates the Fireboard. Ted Conrad joining me here on the show. Ted, how are you, buddy?
Hey, Greg. Great. How are you?
I'm doing absolutely fabulous. Ted, appreciate you joining me here on the show. Do I not have a camera on you this evening?
I could certainly turn that on. Let's see. Would you?
Let's see what
here,
happens.
Greg.
Who knows? Crazy things could happen. Here we go. There he is. Oh, you on your phone?
Yeah.
Look at you. So, are you on the road? Are you just milling about the countryside estate, or what's happening?
Well, I'll tell you, Greg. We have been busy, honestly, all day starting to prepare for the American Royal.
Yeah.
So we have been out running around tonight, trying to get trailers together, trying to get parts and pieces. So we're going to be rolling out there Thursday morning. We're going to start setting up. So, are you going to be out there, Greg?
I will continue to have my streak of not being at the American Royal. Now at least the 10th year in a row, but at some point that may or may not change. But a lot logistic things, and honestly, aside from and I want to get into the weeds here with the business of the show, but I mean, from a meeting some sponsors that might be out there and getting to see some people face to face. I mean, it's one of the biggest events each and every year. There's going to be a lot of people that are dialed in, and they want to make sure that their cooks are going to be going right, and they probably don't want to sit there and have me all up in their face while they're trying to get the thing situated. So it almost makes, from a logistics sense, while it's nice potentially for some FaceTime with me and some people that I've talked to only on the internet, or maybe have just had on the show, not been able to meet personally, having a couple days away outside of the weekend and then being able to come back in a week's time from now and recapping the event and the weekend almost lends itself to a little bit better of an interview for me. And it's not helping me legitimize myself or the show anymore being out there. I mean, as I said, would it be great to be out there? Absolutely. But, I also have this thing called a day job, which, and these kids and all this other responsibility, forget it. So if I could get away from all of that, then the American Royal would certainly be right up there on the top of the list. So we're gonna do a little catch up on Fireboard here in a second, Ted. But as you know, today marks 17 years since the terrorist attacks in New York City, Washington, D.C., of course, the third plane that never made it where it was supposed to be going, widely to believe, the Capitol building in Washington, D.C., which ended up crashing just outside of Somerset in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. And I asked Meathead when he was on in the first hour, and I wanted to start with you in the second hour here and asking the guest, what you recall about the day and kind of where it sits with you 17 years later.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it goes without saying, of course. I mean, we all really do need to remember, and my kids, our oldest kid was born in 2009. So, I feel like I've got to, as they get older, kind of explain what happened. And, you want to, impart that history, I guess. But, it's an interesting, I remember that morning I was on the way to work listening to, it was an AM talk news station or something. And it came on talking about how, some accident, some plane had got in there. And what was interesting, Greg, I actually had been, so before I started Fireboard, I was in the finance world, and I was in New York in mid-August, and believe it or not, I met up with a friend of mine, and we went up to, it used to be there was a bar up on top of one of those towers, and so we were there about 2.5, 3 weeks before that, and I was just, when I heard that on the radio, I was just shocked. I was like, holy cow, I was just in that building. Wow. And of course, as the news played out throughout the morning, I mean, it just became, just a terrible situation, even, to contemplate. But I remember looking up, coming out of the subway right there at World Trade Center, looking up at those buildings, just thinking how amazing those buildings were, so tall, in that little plaza area out there. And then, throughout that day, all I could think about was just the people I ran into just a few weeks ago. It's like thinking about just the tragedy. So definitely important that we remember. I think it's important we teach our kids, and obviously just important that we honor everybody that we lost.
Ted Conrad joining me here on the show, founder of Fireboard Labs, the company that makes Fireboard, which is a hotly coveted item and a prized piece for the people that actually own it. So before we talk about Fireboard here, the other thing I wanted to mention, and I guess a bit of congratulations in order for you and the team over at Fireboard, as you are awarded a 2018 Amazing Ribs Pitmaster Award. So I'm wondering, what does that mean to you? And I'm assuming that's a pretty nice get for you guys.
Yeah, well, we couldn't be happier to work with, and just to have Meathead and their whole support team behind us. I mean, they do amazing work in terms of reviewing equipment, taking a look at really what's going on in the barbecue world, the equipment out there, and they've loved their product. I mean, honestly, one of the first people I got in touch with when we launched Fireboard was Meathead, and he was interested in it. He's been incredibly helpful, just even talking about the business questions, talking about the barbecue industry, food in general. And so it's been great to have them on board. They've got a great site. I think he does a great job with helping educate people, and tons of people find a product through his site. So I mean, it's really nice.
I don't want to dive too far into the weeds in that process, but and maybe it's hard for you to give an opinion, since obviously it's something that it's beloved from the folks over at Amazing Ribs who actually do the reviewing, and then you have a pretty fervent customer base as well. But if you got a hold of Meathead, you send them a product, and I'm sure they get a lot of donated stuff to test. It's not something they're buying. I'm not saying that they don't not buy stuff, but I'm assuming a lot of the stuff is donated in for them to test. If he would have called you back and said, hey, Ted, I got to tell you, it's really kind of a big steaming piece of crap, and there's 20 different things wrong with it, there's no possible way that I would ever give you a reference or a suggestion that people would buy this from my website. Is that something where you would be like, screw you, this is my baby and I'm going to go home? Or would you really try and explore where his pain points were and see if it's something that you would like to work on, given who you're getting this feedback from?
Well, I mean, that's probably, I maybe give you a BS answer, right? But I mean, I think honestly, anybody who has a critical comment, I mean, we've had comments from, well, I will say we have lots of supportive people, lots of people that really like the product, but you still get comments from people that are, whether they're picky or whether they just have maybe a knack for technology, and they have an eye for a certain feature that they really want. So, I mean, that stuff is great. I mean, I think we have to incorporate, in fact, we're working on features in the next couple of months. Hopefully they're out. And all those features are basically from people who have used a product and they've said, hey, this is great, we like it, but we want to see this stuff on there too. And we want to see this feature that'll make it better. So yeah, we want to continue to keep on adding on and creating new features. So I say, if there's any critical comments, just bring them on.
Ted, the economy is robust, whether you're in manufacturing or whatever type of business that you're in currently. In manufacturing specifically, you're also typically reliant on suppliers. In the Class 8 truck world, which is where I live, between 8 in the morning, 7 p.m. at night, all of the OEMs, Peterbilt, Kenworth, Volvo, Mack, at the mercy of part suppliers, and they're what appears to be inability to keep up with demand at this point, causing trucks to be pulled off of production line and waiting literally for months on end for one or two pieces in order to finish up before they can get shipped out. Is that also a pain point as you trickle down into your business?
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, like you said, I mean, the economy's hot, so there's just more of everything, right? And in fact, the automotive industry, if you buy a car today, think about the amount of electronics that are embedded in that car. I mean, you've got all sorts of things. I mean, it's many, many factors of what it used to be. And not to bore you with some of the electronic details, but these small components called capacitors, I mean, believe it or not, I mean, these are things that are almost like specks of pepper. I mean, they're so small. And, they were literally fractions of a cent a few years ago. And now they're still not expensive, but now they're maybe 3 cents or 5 cents or 7 cents. They used to be, like 0.1 cent. And so, and the reason is all the supply has been gobbled up by the automotive world primarily. And then just in general, all these other devices that are being manufactured. I mean, there's connected devices all over. So that has thrown a wrench into the whole supply chain. I mean, it's difficult. If we were to say today, we want to increase our manufacturing by about 2 or 3x, we literally couldn't do that overnight. We would have to wait to get more components with all these lead times. So we have to plan ahead of time, obviously. And you're in the same world that we are, but just with different parts. But yeah, you've got to really be smart about how you're securing your supply chain. But we've got some great partners that are helping us, working with us. We're trying to make the best estimates we can. I mean, obviously we're coming into the holiday season, so we're gobbling up parts ourselves and trying to get ready. So,
Ted, let's talk for the people that might just be tuning in for the first time tonight, or they aren't familiar with Fireboard just yet. A quick overview of the product itself and the different ways it connects, what it allows you to do as you get into the barbecue and grilling lifestyle.
Yeah. Well, so we built this. The main feature is just that it's cloud connected. You take this thing out of the box, you turn it on, and it connects Bluetooth to your phone, which means literally in a matter of seconds, you're connected to this device. Automatically connects, and then you just type in your Wi-Fi password. So through that Bluetooth connection, the Fireboard comes online, and once it's online, it'll connect to our servers, and then it's basically cloud-based. So you can leave the Fireboard at the house. It's monitoring your cook. You can go to Home Depot. I mean, you can go back to the office. You can go to your kids' games, and you can watch everything from your phone. So it's really meant. I mean, at the heart of this was something, just a product to make life easier. Because I found myself, I was doing a brisket or, some sort of cook, and I would be out, running around town. I wouldn't have any idea what was going on, whether, the grill was at the right temperature and what the temperature of the meat was. So I can kind of extrapolate, what time it's going to be done, if I need to make any adjustments. So this simplifies all that. So that's really the core of what we've created. But it's a 6-channel thermometer. So you got a ton of flexibility if you want to monitor a lot of stuff. You've got the flexibility there. We also have the control side now, so you can control a fan. Maintain. I mean, my green egg, I mean, you can just lock it in. I mean, it's just literally right there, 225 the whole time. So we're continually coming up with more features. I've got a great story at some point to tell you, hopefully on these new probes we've got. But yeah, we're continuing to innovate. More stuff coming down later this year and early next year. So that'll be fun. Hopefully some fun surprises for everyone.
I love it when my guests come on the show and tease, but they can't announce. That's my favorite part. That's my favorite part. Did you realize, early on, because there was always, I remember when I first got into it, you had, was it they called like the radio frequency or the radio transmission? So it was like the Maverick style thermometers, and they were like the big craze, and how far could you get away, and is it going to go through 10 walls and all this other stuff? Did you realize that the future of this was going to be cloud-based, and if you didn't have that licked first, I mean, Bluetooth sounds great, but I think distance kind of sucks in that regard. So in order to really stretch out, there was going to have to be a different connection point in order to make this a highly successful option?
Yeah, I mean that's what started everything, Greg. I mean, I've always kind of been a technology guy, so I've loved this stuff. But when I got into barbecue, I had a Maverick, and it's a great thermometer, but you were limited by that, whatever it was, 30 feet or 50-foot range.
Right.
And I basically kind of wondered to myself, I'm like, there has to be a product that just connects over the internet to server, and I can check this anywhere. And I basically looked and I really couldn't find anything. There was a few things out there, but they were really kind of clunky.
Yep.
And so that's kind of that's why we're doing what we're doing now.
What's the Fireboard commercial pricing option? What does that mean?
Well, yeah, good question. We started Fireboard, and again, it was the main thing was from the cooking and the retail side, the consumer. But then we immediately thought of the commercial potential, and we're still digging into that. I mean, we have a lot of grocery stores around the region. We've got food production facilities. We've got a really great cheese company up in Sonoma, and they use our product to monitor all the stages when they're doing their food processing, especially the cold storage. And you can imagine, I mean, any restaurant, grocery store, they've got a ton of costs in their inventory. So the commercial pricing is really just a notion of you're running this 24/7, 365 and storing all that data and having nonstop real-time access. So that the consumer, for what they're doing, like, barbecue, and even for that matter, a guy who's every single weekend doing stuff, that it's still, the cloud's still free to use. But the commercial guys, we've moved to $10 a month when they're just doing 24/7, 365.
From a price point, just normal consumer, what are we looking at to get into a Fireboard?
Yeah, so the basic kit is $189, and that comes with 3 probes. And then we have basically a fully loaded kit, which we call the Extreme Edition, which is $249. And that has 8 probes. So you've got 6 food probes. That way you can load up all 6 channels with food if you want. You can kind of mix and match. You can do 4 and 2 and whatever. But 6 food probes and 2 ambient probes.
Ted, the past few times you've been on the show, I've asked what the end game was. In other words, if a Weber or some other big name in the industry came a-knocking, would there be a sell point? But let me ask the question in a different way instead. Have you been, with the success and now the longevity of the Fireboard, have you been approached about selling out or what's your buyout number because we really dig it and we want it?
Yeah, we've had one discussion.
Nice.
And we've had, some other discussions with companies just in terms of trying to partner. And again, I don't, not to try to avoid answering. I just simply think I think there's some guys that start companies with the goal that they're just going to sell. And that's really not, I think, where we are. I think if somebody came by and they were like, this really, we love this, we're going to, buy it for this. Are you interested? I think obviously you're going to take a look at it, but I think we're interested in building cool technology and solving interesting problems. And as long as we can keep on doing that and we can keep on innovating and building a nice little business, I think that's great.
American Royal Invitational and Open taking place this weekend. Obviously, you guys are going to be hanging out there. What do you look to get out of this weekend?
Yeah, well, that's another great question. It's kind of tough as somebody like us. We want to go out there. We want to talk to people. We want to have fun, but you do want to get something out of it. And sometimes it's hard to pin down exactly what that is. But I think for me, it feels like if we can have some nice creative content, if we can interact with some of the great people. We're actually partnering up with Burnt Finger Barbecue, so Jason and Megan Day, and we'll be out there with them. By the way, it's 376 if anybody's listening who's going to be out at American Royal, so come by and say hey. But we're going to have a nice little setup, hopefully do some photos and video. I think there's just a chance you run into somebody and you have a conversation and maybe you capture that on video. Maybe you just have a conversation that leads to something else down the road. And then I think furthermore, it's a great environment. It's fun to get out there and see what people are doing and just have a good time.
Are you going to be at NBBQA this coming year? That's going to be in Kansas City in beginning of April, I think.
Yes. In fact, yeah, you were out there. Didn't you go last year and do a live?
That's right.
Live
I was
feed?
down in March this year. We did three 3-hour live shows, like Wednesday or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I will be in Kansas City this coming
that's cool.
next NBBQA.
Well,
so we'll be there if we don't. Obviously, we won't see each other this coming weekend, but early next year we'll be hooking up.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely be we'll be there. And so we were there 2 years ago down in Dallas, and then last year we had a huge push, or just this last April, we had a huge push on this product. So we didn't make it down, but definitely we'll be part of that. That'll be a great time.
All right, what's the spot you're going to be hanging out at again this weekend?
376.
376. So if you're going to be down at the American Royal, check them out. It's Ted Conrad with Fireboard. And Ted, really enjoyed catching up. And, of course, I appreciate the sponsorship of this show. So tell the gang I said hi and have fun this coming weekend.
Will do. Thanks so much, Greg. It's
you got
great
it.
to be on.
Happy to have you. There he is, Ted Conrad from Fireboard. That's okay. From
All
Fireboard.
guests appear via the Traeger Grills hotline.
Yep.
Yummy.
There you go. So if you are going to be at the American Royal this weekend, is this the third different date in as many years of the American Royal? 376, which also happens to be Burnt Finger, Jason and Megan Day. They created Bacon Explosion, baby, yeah? All right. Jason Cole coming up out of the break. I want to talk to you quickly about Cook Shack, makers of award-winning smoker ovens for barbecue lovers with any amount of experience. Whether you do it in the backyard, on the competition circuit, in a five-star dining facility, Cook Shack has the unit that will do the job, and with a full line of barbecue sauces, spices, pellets, and wood chunks, the perfect one-stop shop. Cook Shack strives to be your barbecue resource center by offering cooking classes, online recipes, how-to videos, 2 blogs, Smoking Grilling 101's video cooking classroom. Check out their website, cookshack.com, or follow them on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Pinterest, and Google+. Get advice and share your passion for barbecue on their world-class barbecue forum. Cook Shack pellet-fired smokers are the choice of champions because they were designed by a champion, Ed Fast Eddie Morin. The FEC 100 and PG 1000, always customer favorites. The PG 1000 can double as a smoker and a grill. Low and slow, hot and fast, the pellet grill line gives you the most for your money. Cook Shack residential electric smokers are the #1 smoker in the industry. High quality means high durability and versatility. Anything you can cook in your oven, you can make in a Cook Shack, yeah. Passion and dedication drives Cook Shack's manufacturing, with quality always being at the forefront. Get the best in barbecue since 1962. Call 800-423-0698. That's 800-423-0698 and visit cookshack.com. Jason Cole coming up out of the break. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rampey.
All right, thanks again to Ted Conrad from Fireboard.com for joining me last segment. Past 2 weeks, we've been mentioning the new contest that will take place this coming February, being put on by the Kansas City Barbecue Society. KCBS World Invitational Barbecue Championship. Let's head to the Traeger Grills hotline and welcome in the organizer of the event, first timer to the show, Jason Cole, joining me. Jason, how are you, buddy?
Good, man. How are you?
Absolutely fabulous, Jason. Appreciate you making time for the show. Wanted to start out this segment first. I've asked every other guest here to do a quick recollection and or remembrance. Obviously today, 17 days or 17 years to the day of September 11th, 2001. So what do you remember about that day? And I guess how do you see it 17 years later, Jason?
That day, I had just started a new job, and I was sitting in my new boss's office, and just having someone walk by and say, a plane hit the World Trade Center, and we kind of abruptly ended our conversation and found a TV, and just was in disbelief of the things that happened the rest of the day. I'm married into a military family, and it's I have a lot of respect for military and our police officers and our firefighters, and it's a tough day in my wife's family. So there you go.
Jason Cole joining me here on the show. The website, by the way, kcbs.us. That's the main website if you want to take a look at the event website. KCBS World Invitational BBQ.us if you want to check it out here while we're talking. Jason, first time on the show here, so if you don't mind giving us a quick background about you, maybe what you do professionally and how you got in this whole barbecue deal.
Sure. So professionally, I do sales. I work for a packaging company, and I sell companies, boxes, displays, all that kind of stuff like that. Got into cooking competition barbecue a long, long time ago. It was me and my oldest brother, had a disagreement who was a better cook, and we decided we'd enter a contest in the local town that I lived in. And from there, it just kind of grew, and we really became serious about it in probably 2011, 2012. We started doing, more than one competition a year, and just kind of grown from there. And it's been a fun ride. I've made a lot of great friendships over the years. So that's what I really enjoy most about going to competitions is, yeah, we all want to get calls, but, just to hang out with your barbecue family is really cool. You
like it enough to want to get on the board, which continues to seem to be a thankless job by and large.
Yeah, a friend of mine nominated me for the board as a joke, quite frankly. And the more I thought about it, I was like, I'd like to leave a mark. I'd like to say I did all I could for, this crazy hobby sport that we do. So it's been some ups and downs, but overall it's been a good experience.
So let's talk about the KCBS World Invitational Barbecue Championship, Jason. First and foremost, KCBS has always been in the business of sanctioning contests, not putting them on. Was KCBS tired of being just the rules keeper, and now they want to be associated with both sides of the event? Is it a revenue generator now that they're looking at? What's the idea behind getting away from just being the sanctioning body?
Well, first, this is not a new idea. This idea has been floated around for, a long time.
Sure.
And for some reason or another, it's never taken traction. So, I got elected, as you mentioned. Since I'm in sales, they put me in the marketing committee. I have a really strong marketing committee. And one of the guys on the committee is David Stidham. He was the vice president of marketing for Culver's. It's a burger joint. They've got a lot of locations. He ended up leaving there, opening his own restaurant, a fine spot up in Illinois. And he called me one day and had this idea. Again, not a new idea, but he had an idea, and it just kind of grew from there. This is not, you said something about generating revenue. This is not a fundraiser for KCBS. This is just something we want to do for our membership. We want to celebrate our champions. This is the only contest that KCBS has any interest in sanctioning and organizing. So that's as far as the organizing will go with KCBS.
But that wouldn't be like a bad thing. Like you're allowed to make money, right? If you wanted to do that.
Sure. That's not a bad thing. But the idea is that we want to, if we can, we want to up the pot as much as possible. The idea is not to lose money, but if we are able to make some money and put it into the scholarships that we give out every year, that's great. Or if we're able to put it back into the pot, that's always good too.
If somebody looks at it and they're reading how you qualify and, some of these other things that we'll get into here in just a second, is it fair to say that this has an American Royal Invitational feel to it to some degree?
For some degree. It's a little different. The American Royal invites, there's so many sanctioning bodies that are invited to American Royal. They're who they invite. If you're a sanctioning body that puts on 10 contests and has a board and all these other little caveats, and you win a contest and you're invited. This is strictly for KCBS members. It's reserves and grands, and with American Royal, if you win a grand, you're in. This will be the most accessible invitational there is. It's more accessible than a Jack. It's more accessible than the Royal. So there are some similarities, sure, but it's a little bit different.
All right, so let's talk about qualifying. We're talking with Jason Cole. He's the event organizer here for the KCBS World Championship Invitational Barbecue that's going to be taking place this coming February. We'll get to the dates here in just a second. There may or may not be a little confusion on my part, so what better way than just to ask you, and you can give me the yes or no. First and foremost, you have to be a KCBS member, correct?
Correct.
How come that's not
You have to be a KCBS member and in good standing, so you have to be current on your dues.
How come that's not a requirement for every other contest that KCBS puts on? Why shouldn't, if you're going to cook a KCBS contest, that you have to be a member? I mean, that's pretty reasonable, right?
Well, there is a lot of talk about that. I mean, there's been proposals, and you may or may not seen in the bullshit about offering a free membership, and then having the paid membership. But I think there's a lot of momentum behind the idea that you should be a KCBS member to cook a KCBS contest.
I mean, I'm not a KCBS member because I don't cook contests, but I would imagine the easiest way to support a sanctioning body that you might believe in is, I mean, what are dues or a membership cost? $35 or $50?
It's like $35. I think it's actually $40 to be a full membership.
I mean, come on, bone out, $40. Come on, do it. You qualify if you win a Grand Championship or Reserve Grand Championship 2018 calendar year, correct?
Correct.
You can also qualify. Oh, I'm sorry. No, you go ahead.
I was going to say that the year end for KCBS is somewhere around December 15th or so, December 20th, and that's the last contest that counts for points. So that's when the cutoff would be.
All right. So GC, RGC in that regard. You can also qualify if you are a team who finishes in the top 125 Team of the Year points in 2018. Also, is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. So, with that being said, location, Little Rock, Arkansas. How do we come up with Little Rock versus any other place like Cleveland, Ohio on the market?
Well, I'll start at the beginning. Best place to start, I guess. So Dave and I had this idea. He brought the idea to me. We worked on it for about, it was 5 or 6 weeks, massaged it, developed it, went to the board. We talked about it. Something asked them if they wanted to move forward with it or just squash the whole idea altogether. Overwhelmingly, everyone said, hey, we need some more research. We need more homework. But they all loved the idea. So we went back to the drawing board, and, some of the suggestions they had from the board was, what time of year would you do it, and where would you have it? So we really started diving deep into what time of year, because that would dictate where we're going to do it. So we looked, middle of the year, later in the year, first of the year, and there's reasons. Middle of the year, it's hard to pick a weekend and not step on a contest, and that's not fair to the organizer of that contest.
Sure,
because they work hard to, build their contest up and put on a good contest. And it wouldn't be right for us to come in and just step on them and, potentially really hurt their contest and make it not where they could do it. Later in the year, you start running into conflicts with the Jack, you start running conflicts with the Royal. And by no means do we want someone to have to pick between going to our event or the Jack or the Royal. So, again, there's also so many contests and later in the year as well. So it's really hard to pick a weekend. So we really started focusing on the first part of the year, January, February, March. March, there are a lot of big contests in March and April and May. So we really boiled it down to January and February. And the more we looked at it, February made sense. There's not that many contests in February, so we're not really going to be stepping on anybody's toes. And the weather is not bad, considering where you're going to go in the country. So we had a list of criteria of what we wanted to find in a location. So we decided we wanted to stay in the Sun Belt region, which, for those who don't know, the Sun Belt region would be like Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas. We want to kind of stay below a certain line because the weather is better below that line than above that line. So we started looking at within each state. We started looking at cities within the state of things to do. If they had a facility, we need a large facility because it's going to be a large footprint. Because we're hoping to get at least 150 teams. Could be a potential as more as 200 teams. So we need a facility that has the power, has the water, has all the amenities you need for put on a Class Act contest. And as we found the cities and found the locations, we started researching those locations and talking to them, what they have, what they don't have. And we started out with, probably 10 or more locations that we really thought that could hold the event. And as we talked to them, we started marking them off. And we ended up with 4 locations that we really liked. So one day I met Dave in Memphis, Tennessee, and we loaded in the car and just did a road trip. Drove to the locations we talked about, sat down with them, toured the facilities, heard their pitches, just really had a lot of questions for them. And then we came back. And after doing all that, we felt the best location for this event was Little Rock, Arkansas. It's an amazing facility. It's a huge footprint. It's room for us to grow. They have the power. They have the water. It's really centralized to the country. So people coming from, the west or the east or the north or the south, it's easier to get to. And we even took a step further. So once we decided on Little Rock, we called some teams we knew in Michigan and Wisconsin and South Dakota, West Virginia, the Carolinas, and Florida, and just pitched the idea to them, hey, if we were to do this, would you be interested in going? And overwhelmingly, everyone we talked to said, if you put it on, we'll be there. So we felt more comfortable about the location. Now it is February, weather's always a concern. But we looked at every location. We looked at the 5-year, the 10-year, and the historical data of their weather. And Little Rock was better than some cities. Obviously, it's not as nice as Orlando, Florida, but it made more sense to do it in Little Rock than Orlando, Florida. But this year, giving example, Little Rock's the weather in that weekend we're looking at was 60 degrees. It was high as 60. The lows were in the mid 30s to low 40s. So they have one day of snow a year, or 1 day of snow that month, and they typically have about 15 days of rain. So we felt pretty comfortable that, given all those factors, that we felt this was the best location to do it, and it would reach the majority of base of our membership.
And you guys felt confident. I mean, it's easy to get a hold of teams that are kind of in armpits of the country, given that time of year. I live in that armpit of the country. February, it seems like winter here is 6 and 7 months out of the year for some reason, or you can't ever get out of the cold. So if you ask me, and when it's warm out, if I'm going to travel, I mean, it's always easy to say yes. If you ask me in February, in the teeth of winter, I wonder if what they're telling you now might be a little bit different. Then are you still hedging that you might have a little attrition at that point, depending on how bad the weather is across the country?
Well, we understand that not everyone can make it, and I think that I'd say that up front. If you look at the teams that will qualify that could come to this event, and because we're inviting international teams as well. So if you add international teams and domestic teams, we're looking around 400 teams that qualify to come to this event. So our first year, what we based all our numbers off of was have a 50% participation rate. So we would love to have 150, 175, 200 teams, and the teams that we mentioned earlier. And the comments we got from them was, hey, if I've got to borrow somebody's trailer, borrow somebody's smoker, I'm there. It's not just the money's great. The money's on par with American World Open. It's more than a jack. And we, if you want to go to the website and look, we actually increased our payout because we felt like we should pay out top 10 overall. As we're paying 10 deep in each category, but we should pay top 10 overall as well. But everyone we talked to, they said they would come, not just for the money, but just the prestige of it. It's the World Invitation for KCBS. This is the first time that they really put on a contest, organized their own contest. So they want to be at that contest. They want to be one of the first people there. They want to be the one of the first people who wins it, hopefully. But we feel pretty good.
Who's stepped up from a sponsorship standpoint to help you out with this?
We're still talking to sponsors. Randall Bowman's handling all the sponsorship, and we got my marketing committee is handling sponsorships as well. But we're still working on the sponsorships, but we're moving forward. We feel pretty good that we won't have a problem, and we're looking forward to February.
What kind of a prize purse are you looking at, and I guess most importantly, what do you pay out if you win overall?
It's listed on the website. People can check it out. But overall, grand champion $7,500, and it goes down from there. Each category winner, I think it's $1,000 off the top of my head. And we're paying top 10, like I said, overall, and we're going to give out ribbons and trophies down to the top 20.
At this point, this seems to be a location that you would be at February this coming year and then 5 and potentially 10 years down the road, or would you be open if it really starts to steamroll to look and somebody else approached you that you would look at potentially moving if all things fit?
Yeah, this is the deal we have with Little Rock is a 1-year deal. So, we have all intentions of this thing going off great. And if it goes off great, we keep it in Little Rock. But, if it doesn't go off that well, the weather's bad, then we can always readjust where we have it at. But we're not locked into Little Rock for an extended period of time.
Jason Cole is joining me here on the show, and he is putting on the KCBS World Invitational Barbecue Championship, and the website again is KCBS World Invitational BBQ.us. Jason, if anybody has any questions or they want to contact you, what's the easiest way to get at you?
Just email me at jcole@kcbs.us, and I'll be more happy to answer.
And then it's February 8th and 9th, correct?
Yeah, February 8th and 9th. Working all the details out, but we plan on having some welcome parties, and we're doing a steak event on that Friday night. It's going to be a National Grilling Series event. Kids Q, we're doing sauce competition, dessert competition, the whole 9.
February 8th and 9th coming up. It's the KCBS World Invitational Barbecue Championship. I'm talking with Jason Cole. Jason, really appreciate you breaking it down with me tonight. Thanks so much for doing it.
Not a problem. Anytime.
There he is, Jason Cole. Yeah, here we go.
All guests appear via the Traeger Grills hotline.
I'm reading it, for crying out loud, and I still can't push it. Reading it correctly, and I'm still pushing it wrong. That's Jason Cole, and we're talking about the KCBS World Invitational Barbecue Championship, which if you ask Tennessee correspondent Steve Ray, it's not.
Andrew, you are not the fire.
It's not an invitational, it's a national qualifier. You have to win a grand championship or an RGC or finish top 125 in KCBS overall team of the year standings at the end of this year. That's how you qualify, not get an invite. That's according to Steve. Let me talk to you quickly about Green Mountain Grill, some of the best pellet cookers out there on the market today. 3 different sizes to choose from if you're looking for something to take to those tailgates like Meathead and I were talking about in the first hour. Davy Crockett is the one that you're going to want to look at. You're not sacrificing a ton of capacity for portability if you don't have access to a traditional power outlet and you have a 12-volt outlet in your car, truck, van, or SUV. You're in luck. You can use it, and away you go. If you want something you can put on the patio or the back deck, Daniel Boone and Jim Bowie are the ones you're going to want to take a look at. Daniel Boone, mid-size. Jim Bowie, that's the Big Daddy. Both accommodate a tremendous amount of food. Very easy to use, set in 5-degree increments. And you're off and running for that slow smoking or indirect, getting all the way up to grilling temperature, 500 degrees. If you are seeing your way fit to do steaks, burgers, chicken wings, and hot dogs and other type grilling meats, you can do it right there on the Green Mountain Grill. Or maybe it's pizza party time coming up this weekend and you have no options. Ha-ha, poppycock. Head on over to Amazon or your nearest Green Mountain Grill dealer and inquire about the pizza oven insert. Rip the guts out of the Daniel Boone and the Jim Bowie, drop the pizza oven insert in there, and now you have a high heat oven pizza insert. Did I say that right? You have a high heat pizza oven insert. I said that right. Set your cooker at one temperature, let's say 355 degrees, then roughly double it. That's what temperature that oven is at. 700 degrees if you're at 350, 1,000 degrees if you're at 500. I don't like to cook that high. That's just me. Maybe you're different. All you have to do is go to greenmountaingrills.com. That's greenmountaingrills.com. And away you go. We're back to wrap the show right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Whole packers, full racks, legs and thighs, injecting butts. If you've never heard this before, you might think you found the best XXX show ever. Let's get back to the most homoerotic host out there today. Greg Rempe.
And we're being brought to you by the National Barbecue News, dedicated to all things barbecue. The goal is to introduce new people to barbecue worlds while keeping the barbecue enthusiast and professional informed on all current happenings in and around Barbecue Nation. They obtain this goal by offering timely news stories, new product reviews, barbecue event calendars, and unique recipes inside their printed products, websites, social media pages, emails, and newsletters. Subscribe now by going to barbecuenews.com. That's BARBECUE, barbecuenews.com. All right. All the way back in the first hour, we talked with Meathead from AmazingRibs.com. Please note that this is the very first show that I didn't say the other part when I say Meathead. Congratulations to me. I tried very, very hard. Many different sticky notes all around that you can't see. I did it. Congrats to me. And thanks to Meathead, AmazingRibs.com. Don't forget, check out the Pitmasters Club, $24 for the year. Click on that Pitmaster Club info tab at the top of AmazingRibs.com and check it out and then see if it's for you. In the second hour, we talked with Ted Conrad, founder of Fireboard. Fireboard.com is the place to go if you're going to be at the American Royal Invitational and Open this coming weekend. Booth 376 is where he'll be hanging out the majority of the time with Jason and Megan Day from Bird Finger Barbecue. And we close it out with Jason Cole from the Kansas City Barbecue Society. J. Cole at kcbs.us, his email address if you have any questions about the KCBS World Invitational Barbecue Championship. That's taking place this coming February 8th and 9th. We'll continue to follow up on that. Big show planned for you next week. Really excited. The likes of Steven Reichland will be in, amongst the many others. An American Royal Invitational winner interview is promised. That could be Chad Ward, by the way. Just putting it out there. Especially tonight. Especially tonight. September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. Until we meet again next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, this is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe, saying good night now.
From Cleveland, Ohio, and you're listening to Barbecue Central.